This watch, I got here, was first purchased by your great-grandfather during the First World War. It was bought in a little general store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Made by the first company to ever make wristwatches. Up till then, people just carried pocket watches. It was bought by private doughboy Orion Coolidge on the day he set sail for Paris. This was your great-grandfather's war watch, and he wore it every day he was in that war. He'd done his duty, went home to your great-grandmother, took the watch off, in an old coffee can, and in that can it stayed. Till your granddad, Dane Coolidge, was called upon by his country to go overseas and fight the Germans once again. It's time to call it World War II. Great-grandfather gave this watch to your granddad for good luck. Unfortunately, Dane's luck wasn't as good as his old man's. Dane was a Marine and he was killed, along with all the other Marines at the Battle of Wake Island. Granddad was facing death. He knew it. None of those boys had any illusions, but they were leaving that island alive, so 3 days before the Japanese took the island, your granddad asked a gunner on an Air Force transport named Wanaki, a man he'd never met before in his life, to deliver to his infant son, who he'd never seen in the flesh, his gold watch. 3 days later, your granddad was dead, but Wanaki kept his word. After the war was over, he paid a visit to your grandmother, delivering to your infant father his dad's gold watch. This watch. This watch was on your daddy's wrist when they were shot down at Hanoi. He was captured, put in a Vietnamese prison camp. He knew that if the Gooks ever saw the watch, it'd be confiscated, taken away. The way your dad looked at it, this watch was your birthright. He'd be damned if any slope's gonna put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch, up his ass. Then he died of dysentery. He gave me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years. And after 7 years, I was sent home to my family. Well, man, I give the watch to you.
Hello, and what's happening? Welcome to the Witching Hour. Hopefully that transition worked. I think everything is working. Yeah, it seems to be. So, how's everybody doing tonight? This is Tim Oceans coming at you live. I didn't really have much of a plan. I was just kind of bored, and I didn't really have anything else to do. Here, I'm going to put this down here. Yeah, I like that. I didn't really have anything else to do, so why not hop on a stream? The last time I did this, I don't even know, man. It's been so long since I've had a consistent Tim Oceans Witching Hour solo cast. Who knows, man? Who knows? I heard we got banned in Germany. That could have been, I don't know. I don't know what that was all about. We're very friendly with the Germans and the German population, as well as all other European countries. We here at We Tanked, we love the European comrades. Is that okay to say? I don't know. Anyway, here we are. This has been a crazy and wild year for the comic book industry, right? There's just been so much happening. I mean, you've got the new Spider-Man movie, which, by the way, may be one of the greatest films of all time. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's amazing. In fact, let's see if we can... I'm sure maybe we can just show some stills, from the film. Across the Spider-Verse, it's incredible. The best way I can kind of describe this movie, and this really doesn't do it justice, but it's kind of like watching a comic book come to life. Like the animation style, like there's so many different animation styles throughout the film, and they all kind of blend together seamlessly, and that's really what blew me away about it. It's just so freaking cool, man. Like some of the scenes that you watch are just unbelievable. There is a scene where, and I'm not going to spoil anything because I think that everybody should go watch this film. But there is a scene where Spider Gwen is talking to her dad, and the background in that scene is constantly shifting and changing panels. It's all watercolor, and it looks like maybe like a David Mack kind of painting. It's just something unreal. It's something like I've never seen on the screen before, and all these colors are just coming to life, and they're changing as the characters change emotionally. It's just something to behold. And then, like I said, like the art style's kind of coming together. Like at certain points in the film, you'll see several, because I feel like each Spider person kind of has their own art style. And so you get all the Spider people like coming together at certain points in the film. And so those art styles kind of merge in the movie. And that's really, really, really neat. It is well worth the watch. I've seen this movie 3 times so far in theaters. And I am more than satisfied every time I go in there. In fact, I was trying, I'm sure this shelf life on this thing's got to be coming to an end. I mean, it started, a month ago. And I mean, typically movies don't make it very long. Maybe 2 months ago now. Wow. Movies don't last that long, in theaters these days, it seems like. So my thought is, you're looking at maybe another couple weeks, maybe a month before this thing rotates out, and it's available for home purchase. And if you can't go see it in theaters, which I highly recommend, get the experience while you still can. It's well worth the money, the price of admission. If you can't, make sure that you watch this film when it comes out on video, because it is going, and do it on a big screen where you can really take it in, cut the lights down, throw it on, and enjoy. What's so cool about this film that you really don't get in a lot of other Spider-Man movies is the development of the characters, which is kind of rare for Spider-Man in general, right? Like Peter Parker has just been Peter Parker for since the 60s, right? Since the early 60s. In this movie, you get to see Miles Morales kind of become Miles Morales, or why he is sort of who he is now. And that's really, really interesting. Like the fact that we got to see this guy as like a kid, 13, 14, 15 years old, and now he's kind of becoming a young adult. He's getting out of high school. He's ready to go to college and say. So you're getting the same Peter Parker story, sort of. And everything's coming to a head in his life, just like it did for Peter in those comic books. And it's really, really neat, man. It's just something to see. And if you weren't buying into the character of Miles Morales before, in the last film, which I think you should have. I mean, I think Tim Oshus has been on Gage and Cage on the record stating that the original Spider-Verse film was maybe one of the greatest comic book films of all time. Well, this one, it's certainly as good, but it's better, in a lot of ways than that film, which blew me away. I didn't think you could get much better than the first film, and I was pretty much swiftly proven wrong on that one. Just a ton of fun too, and I was assuming kind of like that the movie would be, I don't know, campy, cheesy. You've got so many characters, and this is the Spider-Verse that they're kind of going into, and every single Spider-Man you can think of is in this film at one point or another, and you would think that would get played out, but they just do it so masterfully, and they really do the characters justice, the existing IPs that exist within that film, such as Ben Reilly. You know, Ben Reilly's kind of this thing in the comic book industry. If you go back to the 90s, a lot of people will say that was an arc in Spider-Man that really nobody wanted, nobody cared for, and we wish we could just kind of sweep it under the rug and not remember it, you know, but it happened. And I love how even in his character that's reflected, and they kind of not belittle his character, but definitely poke fun at the Scarlet Spider. So that's pretty hilarious to me. That being said, he does have a cool costume, always has, and he does in this film too. You know, they even joke about that as well, which is just awesome. I love that. That's such fan service for me, because that was certainly, you know, a sentiment amongst the community for quite some time. So to get that final little bit of I don't know what you would call it, recognition maybe, that felt good. Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse, guys. Enter the Spider-Verse was the first film. This is the second film. It is a marvel to behold. Tons of fun. And better than the first movie. Everything that you love about the first movie is there, but there's more of it. So, yeah. Enter the Spider-Verse. And so that's just one part of the comic book industry. As of today, let's see, this is July 3rd, so one day before Independence Day. It's kind of interesting. Maybe this can be a patriotic stream. Yeah. Lots of other tumultuous things going. So as of today, July 3rd, 2023, you know, I feel like James Tynion is still kind of the king of the comic book industry. Has been now for a couple of years. He's got his finger in a lot of pies, man. He's writing these books. This what's it called? The Devil's Cut. The Devil's Cut comes out. It's released by Distillery Comics, and he's got his finger in that pie as well. You know, it seems like everything the guy touches turns to gold, sort of, like, right? Or at least that's the kind of the case for right now. You know, we'll continue to see if that's the case. But the reason I bring this up is because I want to say I mentioned this. Maybe I did do a stream at some point. But World Tree, man, is hot stuff right now, man. I saw that the cover A has spiked up a little bit in price. And that is a big factor, man. If I felt like if that book moved at all in price, it could be a tremendous sign for the longevity of that line. Once again, how I started the conversation was to say, you know, and everything that Tynion turns to gold, he's still the king right now. And I think that holds true, and I think that it might for this book. I'm not saying that we have the next Something's Killing on our hands. Also a Tynion book, also going strong. What are we, 34 issues in now? And the character development is just off the chain. World Tree looks to be heading in that direction. You know, all the feedback that I've gotten about the book so far has been very, very positive. And so if you haven't gotten your copies of World Tree, I heard that it is going for around $10 now on eBay, which is double, you know, the original cover price. Now, this is not including the recalled variant. So comic book stores were sent copies of this comic book early, and because of the inking on the front cover, most of the books actually appeared far too dark, and you couldn't really see what was on the cover. Well, they recalled those books. Well, because they recalled the books, and then reissued a reprint of the cover A, those original copies shot up in value. So you not only have the recalled variant, but now you have the cover A as well. And there's also all these exclusive, which go check out your local comic book store, guys. Chances are you might live in an area where these companies are offering some of these exclusives. You might be able to walk in and buy one, you know, which is great. But what I was saying with that is that all these exclusives are, they seem to be selling like hotcakes. And some of them are very, very pricey and valuable already. There is actually a Something's Killing the Children homage. It's a 1 in 100. That I believe it's going for like $250 now. And it's an homage to Something's Killing, but on a World Tree number 2 or 1. So yeah, World Tree, it's hot. Go check it out. Yeah, I would recommend subscribing to it. If you do have a local comic book store, ask them if they've got a pull box or a pre-order system. Pick up a subscription to this title because I think it's really, really cool. Let's see if I can go ahead and pull up some covers for you guys. So yeah, this is our main character here. And this is one of the exclusive variants. The car. Actually, you know what? Let's just show. I'll show you guys as much as I can here. Comic Geeks. Yeah, man. So League of Comic Geeks is really cool because it will show you pretty much every single cover for particular comic book. And so back in the day, there was only one cover, right? Like for years and years and years, the comic book industry was like, you got one cover and maybe you had like a 35-cent variant. You know, it was like there was a point in time where they were switching between 30 and 35-cent comics. And so some of those comics, depending on where they got printed and when they got printed, they can be more valuable or just different, you know, enough to annotate that this comic is different from this comic because it has a different price tag attached to it, which oftentimes kind of dictates a value. Some odd things like that, like a price variant, the Mark Jewelers insert. That's a classic thing for a lot of comics. Whether or not I know, like the first appearance of Poison Ivy has a Batman and Robin pinup on the inside. You know, the comic collectors always check for these kind of things. There was a series of collectible, I don't know what you would call them, like these little cutout cards. They issued those for years. But anyway, and so all these things kind of affect the scarcity and the value of the comic books. All right, they've already got previews up for number 5, it looks like. Very cool. And so, another cool thing about this, so let me tell you, I'm sure I've said this prior, if I have talked about this book before. Oh yeah, so not only was the cover A recalled for being too dark, but the 1 in 25 variant was also recalled. And it shows that right here, you know, and it reflects that in the pictures. And these books are this dark. Like they came and the books almost looked black. They were so dark. But anyway, so this is our story right here. And you've kind of got the holy trifecta going on with this comic book, right? Like there are a lot of positive indicators that this could be a potential winner from a speculation side. Okay, so let's run down the list. What do we have? Well, Tynion's writing it. James, I have mispronounced this guy's name. This guy's name is Holstream. His name is James Tynion. It is Tynion, not Tynyon. For some reason, I kind of learned it the wrong way, and so I continually pronounce it wrong, even though I have not only been corrected, I have stood in this man's presence. While he has been announced on stage, you know, I've literally, you know, taken a selfie with this guy, and I still continue to pronounce his name wrong, which is it is disrespectful because the guy is potentially the best writer in the industry right now, and I don't mean any disrespect to any of the other writers that are in the industry because God knows we have a ton of great ones. But for my money, I'll take Tynyon just about anywhere. Anyway, so Tynyon is writing the book. Tynyon. It's Tynion. It's Tynion. Come on, man. Anyway, Tynion is writing the book. And that's your first great sign, you know, that this could be something. Second of all, it's an independent publisher. Okay, and this is something that I look for in good comics, and you kind of only get this in horror. Stories that haven't necessarily been told before, especially not through publishers like DC or Marvel. These books usually don't have anything to do with superheroes, or if they do, they're more adult. Not always. I mean, there are superhero lines that run through Image, certainly, like Spawn, but they tend to be more mature, not in a smutty or pornographic kind of way, but in an actual like content kind of way. The way I think about comics, at least reading comics, is you have comics that are for all ages. Superman, Batman, your superhero lines. You know, a 10-year-old kid can get the same enjoyment as a 30-year-old guy, or a 60-year-old guy, or a 90-year-old guy, and that's just the way that superheroes are, you know. Whereas I wouldn't give Something's Killing the Children to my 10-year-old. I wouldn't give, you know, that kind of thing. There's no way. It's far too graphic and violent. However, if you're an adult, if you've got the power to discern things for yourself, then this is a very good read. And that's what I mean when I say mature comics. Anyway, so we've got Tynion is writing it. It's an independent publisher, and the lead character, at least so far, who seems to be the main antagonist from what I gather, she seems to be kind of a bad guy. Anyway, this Fear character, I believe, is her name, and you know, she's kind of scantily clad, and so the scantily clad comic books, for lack of a better word, tend to go up in value. There tend to be a lot of collectors out there for that kind of thing. And just an appreciation for the art, too. You know, this has got a cyberpunk, new age feel to it. It's very industrial, and it grunge, and just reminds me of, you know, the 90s. And I love that vibe. This chick, you know, she's got some girl with the dragon tattoo vibes kind of thing. And speaking of this, as far as exclusive covers go, the John Gang, come on, man. You don't get any better than that. I mean, the guy is just, woo. He is something else. But you can see, I mean, these exclusive covers are just great, dude. Even, and here's the thing I like, is even the what would you call it, racy or, you know, scantily clad women covers, such as like this variant. That's killer, you know. And check it out, Tynion, spelled out, World Tree. That's really, really neat. Image Comics, I love that. Blanco, hey, there's the artist, right? Yeah, so even the covers themselves are just something else, man. I really, really dig the alternate art here. It's great. Which I tried to get in. I missed. I had kind of timed this, right, to where we have been talking about doing these exclusive comic books for the store. And I kind of timed it. As we're talking about doing this, I was hoping that I could kind of get in on that last wave of retailers for this number 5. I did not. I did not get in on that. I should have. I think, or no, maybe it was number 4 actually, because like they cut the exclusives off. I don't know if they cut them off, but. They did not issue one for number 5. But yeah, very cool stuff. Great writer. I want this cover so bad, man. So this is an homage to my favorite Something's Killing the Children cover. And I would absolutely love to buy that. Staniak, Rabbit Comics exclusive variant. Yeah, I actually have the holy grail of this book. of the actual book. It is signed, it is slabbed, and it is signature verified by CGC. And so that is one of my holy grail possessions. I would love to get this in honor of the other book. Once again, another Tynion book. I think the character design is really, really cool too. Because not only, okay, so we've covered a scantily clad chick, but like the tattoos are just dope, right? Like that's got to mean something, you know? Like these crazy patterns and symbols on her back. It's just like, whoa. And that's in like every single cover, you know? And the head shave thing is just freaking sweet, man. She's got a really dope. I dated a chick who shaved half her head one time, and man, she was something else. But anyway, I think this is a really neat series, and I'm looking forward to what lies ahead for it. This was a great cover, by the way. I wonder if I can, this was one. So this comic, I was at a convention where this comic kind of premiered. I mean, this it basically came out the exact same time as this comic did. This Tiny Onion foil, and I went with this on my list. I was at the convention where this was going to be, and it was one of the books that I did not get. I could not manage to find this book. I saw one copy sitting at James Tynion's table that was not for sale. One of the people that I traveled with did get one copy, however, so I thought that was pretty cool. And, you know, when you go to these conventions, you have these grand ideas that you're all going to stick together, but, oh my goodness, there's so many people, it's hard to do. Anyway, he ended up getting a copy. I did not, sadly. He got the last copy from one of the vendors there. But yeah, very cool. I love Inuit Lee, or I hope that's how I'm pronouncing. I'm butchering these names, man. I don't mean any disrespect by it either. I have nothing but respect, actually, for these guys. This is a killer cover. Fear is real. Right, which I believe Fear is potentially this character, which is very cool. Very cool name. Yeah, I don't know. That's the Tony Fleeks, who did Stray Dogs. I wonder if this dog is in jeopardy. I actually have this. This is one of the variants that I did get from the show. Very cool. Met the artist. Very, very cool guy, Mike Choi. Yeah, tremendously talented too. Some of the artists that go to these conventions are just next level, you know. And an unknown artist, you know, that's what's so wild about where we're at in the comic book industry today. What's happening right now is some of these guys that are just so undeniably talented, they can't help but we in the industry just embrace them. You know, if somebody comes in and they can draw like this, and they can put art like this on a cover, it doesn't take long. It does not take long to get your name out there, to get recognized, and to show people that you've got the ability to do this kind of thing. You know, this is something that pays, and pays well. This industry is growing. There is a ton of work out there for artists. If you're looking to do comic book art, if that's something that interests you. So I would, if I could go back, 15 years, that might be something that an old Tim Oceans might puddle around in, Because good Lord, man, just to be able to create something like that. Also, the rating on League of Comic Book Geeks, I must say, I believe that is one of the highest ratings, and with a 500 to 511 people. That's pretty wild. It's a great cover. Bryce Comics, Kirk and Barrett. I love this stuff, man. Groundbreaking comics. And so this is kind of what I was talking about. Like these, by what I mean by exclusive is this is the only comic shop that got this comic, which is just great. That's such a great thing for the store because some of these, A, this is being sought after right now, and B, I mean, this just gives that, you can go check these guys out. You can go check out this Nocturnal Rabbit. You can go check out, what is this, Final Order Comics. You can go check these guys out, and they are all comic book stores who are doing the same thing that I'm doing, And I have nothing but support and admiration for these guys, and I hope to join the club at some point. I love comic books. I love what they've done for not only myself but like my family. It's been such a big part of my life since literally I can have my first moments of consciousness, are derived from the pages of comic books. And so this is it, man. This is the precipice of the future. We're standing on it right now. And I'm so grateful to be a part of all of it. It's just incredible. I'm truly blessed to be able to wake up and do what I do every single day and be involved in this and see this stuff coming out. It's something that I never, in my wildest dreams, thought that I would be here right now doing what I love. And it's so simple. I feel like for most people this would be not the dream. But to be able to say that I am a comic book man, that's meaningful to me. And I hope that I can have some of the same impact that other comic book men have had on me throughout my life. It's something special, man. It is absolutely something special. I don't really I didn't have much of a plan. We talked about World Tree. We talked about Spider-Verse. I'm sure there are a ton of other lines to talk about. I hear great things about Daredevil right now. I hear that it is one of the better lines going right now. Wolverine, always hot, always a good line. Spider-Man is in a lull, basically has been for the last 20 fucking years. I mean, as long as I can remember, Spider-Man's been in a lull. We had a little bit of reprieve there with Superior. I feel like Superior Spider-Man kind of bailed out the Spider-Man line, the drag in the story for so many issues now. But we've got to be getting close to issue 1000, right? Like, we are steadily approaching Amazing 1000. Steadily. Like, it will literally be next year, maybe? At 2 issues a month. I mean, they are cranking these things out to try to get to that point. Do we hit 900 yet? What is that? Let's find out. What issue is ASM on? That's really interesting. Amazing Spider-Man. What issue is the Amazing Spider-Man on? It's crazy that, that doesn't just, immediately pop up. 2018, 2012, series. Let's just look at the series then. 1990 through 91. Okay, The Amazing Spider-Man. Is that right? 2019, no, we want through 2023, right? So there's through 2022. Is this it? No, that's it. So I knew that was some kind of homage variant thing. It's kind of cool, though. I love the Gwen cover there. 2018. Where on earth is 2022 through present? Okay. Okay, so the most current issue. Oh, wow. Does it tell me the legacy number? Legacy 928. Okay, so that's let's bust out the calculator. Alright, so we have 1,000 issues minus 928 equals. There are 72 issues left until an issue 1,000. So they put out 2 issues a month of Spider-Man. So divided by, or no, right? Divided by 2, right? Where the hell is it? Okay. Divided by 2. Divided by 12. 3 years. Within 3 years, we will have Amazing Spider-Man 1000, which is awesome. That is really, really, really amazing. I am so happy that is going to be, I'm going to get to be a part of that history. Man, talk about a comic that I will be happy to go heavy on. You know, it's odd. I would expect within the next 50 issues some seriously major events to transpire in the story, just based on how they are certainly wanting to make that as big of an event as humanly possible, I would think. I don't think that we would have the comic book industry as we know it right now without this friendly neighborhood web slinger. So, yeah, within 3 years, expect a new or a Amazing 1000, man. That's mind-boggling to me. You know, I continually buy Spider-Man. You know, I buy it every single release. I get lots and lots and lots of copies. I buy all these crazy variants. Always get the 1 in 25s. Oh, that's cool. This Gleason is dope. Oh, it's a Kraven homage. That's cool too. So Kraven the Hunter, guys. Should be a big deal. I would assume that those books are going to spike very soon, including this little run where Kraven hunts Spider-Man. Kraven's Last Hunt is one of the more, well, it's about the grittiest and darkest Spider-Man that they've ever done. Which is interesting that we just maybe, we might get a dark, gritty Tom Holland Spider-Man movie? That is absolutely wild, right? Like, that doesn't sound right. They're never that. They're never dark and gritty, so to get that would be something really, really interesting. Yeah. So this is one that I picked up. It's like, why, right? It's like, why is Wolverine on this book? This is an Amazing Spider-Man annual, bro. I absolutely love the covers. The covers have been stellar for Spider-Man here recently. Very, very freaking cool, man. And I'm not crazy about the Disney thing, but they own it now, I guess. Like, Marvel and Disney are essentially the same company. And so, whatever. I'm just not going to buy them. Like, I don't really understand why. Who is that? That Daisy Duck? Daisy Duck is on the... Okay. Like, somebody just explain this to me. And this is somebody who loves comic books. Right? I love comic books more than anything in the world. Really. I don't get who this is for. I don't understand what it is. And I certainly don't know why it's there. And this is a trend throughout Marvel right now. It's Amazing Spider-Man 33 with Daisy Duck on the cover, dressed as Miss Marvel with a large Miss Marvel title on the front that says Miss Marvel #1 and a gigantic #1 in the top right hand corner. Now look, I dig homage comics. I dig variant covers. I dig funky things on covers and all that kind of stuff. All of that is great. Who is this for? What is it? This is let's back up for a minute, just in case you forgot. This is Amazing Spider-Man 33. Oh wait, you tell me what it is. Did you forget? It doesn't make a darn bit of sense. Now, if you had Donald Duck on the cover, dressed as, I don't know, Spider-Man, and it said Spider-Man, maybe it would start to make a little more sense. It's like, okay, Disney wants to put their branding out there or whatever it is they want to market Daisy Duck. Okay, we're slapping Daisy on the cover and she's going to homage Miss Marvel. Great, do it on a Miss Marvel book. And I get it. I get Miss Marvel for some reason is in ASM, like you just killed her off in ASM. Not that anybody cared, because FYI, nobody cared. As a collector who owns this book, I'm going to look at this 10, 15 years down the road, and I can't see the back. Keep in mind. And on some of these books, it's not even on the back. It's on the interior. And so this is something I will visibly, almost certainly, never see unless I crack it and open it and read it for some reason. How am I to identify what book this is? It doesn't make any sense, man. And this is a regular thing from Marvel that they're doing. And that's what's kidding me. Is like the Disney crossover doesn't bother me. Okay, you own Marvel now. Crossover, whatever you want. Throw Spider-Man and Mickey Mouse on the same fucking cover, but like, do it in a way that at least is somewhat makes sense. Like this has nothing to do with anything, and it isn't going to be thought about 10 years from now at all. And I'll say another thing. As amazing as these timeless Alex Ross covers, which I'm sure Spider-Man must have had one. So they did a Alex Ross. He's a great artist, and they did some covers with, let's see. Oh wow, all the variants are just unbelievable. So many, right? Is that Archer? No, Ariel Diaz. Oh, it's beautiful. Sergi. Oh, that's nice too. Both just killer. Once again, okay, we're at Amazing Spider-Man number 27. With Mickey Mouse on the cover. Dressed as Iron Man. Who is this for? Why did you make it? Why am I stuck with it now all of a sudden? You know, it's just bizarre. It's bizarre. It's strange to me. It's, these comics may get remembered just, and maybe they'll be sought after. Hell, what do I know? Just because of how bloody weird they are. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sitting here trying to process why on earth they would do something like this, and I'm sure there's some answer. I'm sure there's a layman's answer. I'm sure somebody could explain this to me. But for the life of me, I don't get it, and it certainly it certainly bothers me a little bit. Anyway. But Alex Ross had a similar thing when Alex Ross did the covers, where it would be just a character that was not supposed to be on Spider-Man, or you just wouldn't associate with Spider-Man, kind of. And it's just weird. Ariel Diaz, by the way, cranking out the jams, and what a tremendous artist she is. I mean, The hyper realism, very cool. I have watched her literally sketch these things out by hand, and what a talent! Just what an absolute talent. Okay, I think that's the only one. Yeah, I'm a big fan, and I think she is an absolute joy, and she's going to be around in this industry for a very long time. I really like her stuff. Man, we could look at covers all day, man. I bought this one. I don't know why either. I'm not really a Land, or Greg Land, I think is the guy's name. I bought that cover for some weird reason. I like Mary Jane. I actually got a Mary Jane tattoo this year. Mary Jane's a cool character. Yeah, and these were great. These sold out too quickly for me. I tried to get these, and they literally there was like, what happened was the two alternate variants weren't available, and then the main cover was still available for a little while, and yeah, I just passed. I was like, I'm not gonna fight everybody to try to get these other two covers. It's just, Campbell's stuff is obviously, he is the king. But, what gets me is, like, Campbell is amazing. He's an incredible artist. In fact, he's my favorite artist. Okay, I'm okay with saying Campbell's my personal favorite, because I have so much respect for all of these guys. But what gets me is, like, these copies are just, they go to the moon, and everybody loves them, and everybody tries to get a hold of them. They immediately sell out. And you just have such a talent. You have such incredible talent that kind of waits in the wings and doesn't get the same level of exposure. And I just feel like you just wait. You just give it a hot minute, because I think this chick's coming for all of you. I don't know. I just got a feeling, man. And it's not like she hasn't been around. I mean, Ariel Diaz has been around for a little while. I have a feeling like she's making the rounds right now, man. She's been at every major con that I have been to so far this year, and she's going to be at Comic-Con. The level of exposure, she's getting her name out there. She's getting main top shelf titles that she's doing covers for. Ariel Diaz, be on the lookout, boys and girls. We could have a new art germ on our hands. This is cool. Is this Mark Brooks? No, Perel. That is really cool. I love new artists. They are just like artists that have, maybe Perel's not new, I don't necessarily know, but artists that I haven't like heard of or seen before. Like and the art itself on comics is just something to behold, man. If you love it, you love it. And I get that it's not for everybody, but man, it sure is for me. All right, well, we talked about Amazing, which I didn't really see us going there. This is interesting. I don't know who this is. Homage Celor Pirelli exclusive variant. I don't know. It's killer, though. I love this cover. That's killer. Gwynam. Gwynam. I like how her under the hood is like pink, like instead of red. Like you kind of think of Venom as like red in the tongue, but like hers is like pink, like the pink tongue. It's cool. Yeah, that was interesting. I just had never seen that before. I still am not 100% sure what it is, but yeah, I love comic books. I buy comic books, and I respect the men who curate comic books, who curate them, write them, draw for them, and the women. Like, let us not forget our comic sisters and comic women out there, because there are some really, really great ones in this industry, and that is something that, for a long time I I didn't feel like that was the case. That women weren't really a part of the industry as much, and it's cool that is the case now. After going to some of these things and seeing it for myself, that women are not only part of the industry but leaders in the industry. And I will say this about the comic book industry, and one of the reasons why I love it is, we like, as a society, we kind of talk about equality a lot and what that means. But in the world of comic books, like, it was never not a thing. Like, we always, or at least as long as I've been around it, it was always a community where no matter who you are, no matter what walk of life you come from, what your perspective is, you're accepted. It's that you have a home. It's not gate kept like these other things. You are welcomed into the comic book community, and the diversity that you see is just natural and organic, and it doesn't have to be pushed. It doesn't have to be, there's no agenda. It happens spontaneously and out of not to say that it's all puppy dogs and rainbows. It certainly isn't. And there's bad sides to every industry. But I feel like more so than I've ever been involved in anything in my life, it feels inclusive. It feels nurturing and welcoming, and it's certainly not gate kept. And that's why I chose to cast my lot with it, because in life I've been confused about a lot of things. I've been confused about who I am as a person, what my purpose is here. Comic books make sense to me on a level that a lot of other things just don't. And that's enough reason for me to stay in it and hopefully die with it. I hope my one hope in life over the next, I hope to get another 70 years out of this thing, live to be 100, over 100. I hope that the rest of my life, regardless if it's tomorrow or 70 years from now, is spent doing this. Is spent in this industry with these people, involved with these people, and I couldn't ask for anything more. I love what I do, and it's truly a blessing. I never anticipated that like books and art coming together would be so impactful on me, but at this age, it's pretty easy to see that. I remember reading the Dark Phoenix saga. Chris Claremont X-Men stuff is probably issue 1. What is that? 134 to 150 approximately. 120 to 150, let's call it. Anyway, there's a series of issues, maybe like 10 issues long. It's this little run. And I just remember being a kid and feeling like this is so wild, like being transported somewhere else. Like they go into space and meet all these different races of people and or aliens, and it just blew my mind back then. And the characters were so awesome right off the bat. Like, if you've never read the Chris Claremont X-Men stuff, go read it, because the characters alone just pop right off the page. And he hits you in giant size X-Men. You get origins for everybody. So if you literally just started off, it's a great way to start off a story, because you know everybody's backstory or the parts he wants you to know right off the bat. They all come together as a super team. Characters, it's just, it should be homaged more, because even the story inside of Giant Size X-Men #1 is excellent, and the whole run that he gets is just incredible, all the way through the Dark Phoenix stuff. It's man, go read it, ladies and gentlemen. Giant Size X-Men, maybe the greatest comic book of all time. X-Men #1. I had the good fortune of being able to buy one of these, and it was the first time ever. Obviously, this was a book that I've kind of watched throughout my whole life, and there was a time where it was affordable to me now. Certainly affordable to me now. And I've watched this book go up and up and up and up, and wow, it's so cool. Just a great story. Oh, man. Well, you know what? I've been at this for about an hour. You got the witching hour. I thought I might do a little Diablo, but, man, I filled the hour. That's all that matters, right? Anyway, this was a good one tonight. I got deep. I went deep. And, you got to see a little bit of what Tim Oceans loves. And I hope that my passion and the things that I care about, I hope a little bit of that, maybe it reaches out to you. Maybe you get impassioned and you go pick up a comic book. You pick up a comic book and read it, and maybe, just maybe, it'll change your life too. Anyway, I'm Tim Oceans. This has been the Witching Hour. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great night and a most excellent, in the words of Ted Theodore Logan, a most excellent 4th of July. Amen. God bless, and